Welcome to Podnutz Daily, episode number 288. In Podnutz Daily, we bring on computer repair technicians, and they talk to us computer repair technicians, and they share computer repair technician data. It's all about computer repair and technicians helping other techs, and that's what we're all about here. So if you're interested in fixing computers, you came to the right place. Let me introduce the co-host for today, Jeff Hallish from TechNutPC.com. What's going on, Jeff?
Oh, everything good, man. How you doing?
Doing great. You know, I do often, I love your site, TechNutPC, not just because you use the tech site builder to build it, but it is a very good, I'd like to, if you guys haven't checked out Jeff's site, Jeff is like the model tech site builder site. Because, let me go to it right now, actually, TechNutPC.com. Ooh, and he put an orange background in there, that's cool. Because if you go to his site and check it out, this is what if you buy the tech site builder and you follow the instructions exactly, you're going to have a site like this. And what I like about Jeff's site, and we talked about it again when Jeff was on, but I just want to bring it up, is he's got a cool logo that he created. It fits right up in the upper left-hand corner, looks awesome. And he's got a picture of himself on the right-hand side of the screen fixing a computer. The tech site builder shows you how to do that and recommends those two exact things that he did. So he'd follow the instructions to a T, and I'm gonna put myself on the spot here, Jeff. But how is how are you getting business? How's it going with the site?
Yeah. Business overall is real good. I think you've been talking about it lately. As some of the other techs that business has kind of gone down a little bit, and I'm kind of seeing that too. It just seems like it comes in ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
There's been quite a while where there's been not a whole lot of business, and then all of a sudden I'll get 4 or 5 PCs all at one time.
Right. Okay.
And sorry about that.
Oh my gosh.
I work in a factory. My ringtones are loud.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's been a little bit of lull. Every once in a while, and
Yeah.
but it's just part of the business. I think.
I think so
Just
too.
like the same things come in all the time. You get a bunch of virus cleanups, or you get some screen repairs or whatever.
It's funny. This business does come in waves. I mean,
Yeah.
not just customers, but actual jobs. Like you'll get like 5 power supply replacements in a row, and then the next wave is all hard drives and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
All right.
it's been a little bit of, the Google AdWords is good. Again, it's one of those things. I'm just sticking with it.
Yeah.
It's costing right around maybe $60 a month tops.
Yeah, but how can you equate that to how many customers you get? How much is it costing you per customer? That's how I used to do it with AdWords. It totaled out for me to be like $6 to $8 per customer.
I'm probably averaging still, if you work it all out, I mean, there's probably, I would say 15 to 20 customers a month. There might be some lulls and stuff like that there.
So, and for $60 a month to get 15 customers is not bad, right?
No. And you know what? You just got to, even if you have a couple low months, you just got to stick with it.
Yeah.
Because I get people that are calling me all the time. And I started this business legitimately probably in May. A lot of it I was doing word of mouth before that. But right now I'm getting people they're excited that, when they bring a PC to me, and that's what most of the people are doing, is actually bringing it straight to me, because $79 instead of spending $99.
Right.
They're bringing it to me, and I'm getting referrals off of those people because they're like, man, you called me right away. You told me what the problem was. You fixed my problem within a day and got it back to me. Now, granted, I understand I'm a small shop, and I can only do so many PCs at one time. But my goal in the future is to actually expand that and set up a basically a criteria that other techs that I can either hire or subcontract out can follow through and do the same things I'm doing and bring in that much more volume.
Oh, cool. It's a good idea. It's a good idea. Be the boss.
Because I can't do it all myself, and it's it can get a bit overwhelming sometimes. So
plus, it's fun to boss other people around.
Well,
I'm just kidding. All right. So, what did you bring for us this week?
Well, some of the things I've been working on since the last time we talked. I had a unique opportunity to somebody was starting up a website, and they wanted to get it going, and it was for a doing some sort of like generational care for older people, just doing things around their house and stuff like that. So anyways, through a friend of mine, we were talking, and basically what I did was I set him up a Google Apps account, which basically gives them almost like a corporate email account for free. And they just had to buy a domain name. And if you know how to change MX records, you change MX records over to Google Apps, and they can set up to 50 email addresses through that.
Huh.
So, they've got it, I set mine up that way. Like I've got the, mail at technutpc.com, or, jhallish at technutpc.com. A couple other guys I was working with were setting up some test accounts. And what's cool about it too is you can add the Google calendars. And so you can know when another person's on an appointment or whatever. And so that was kind of cool. And that's something that they were looking for, because they had already started with a couple employees that were going to be doing this business. So, and what I decided was, I think I'm going to do basically go in to GoDaddy, buy the domain name, and set it up for them, changing MX records, getting, any email addresses and stuff that they want set up, and, charging like $99. And just to do that is kind of a side business. Because what I noticed is, I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but somebody actually hands you a business card, and let's say they're in real estate, and it says Joe Schmo at
gmail.com.
Gmail.com, or hotmail.com, which is even worse.
Yeah, that was the worst. That's second worst. AOL is the ultimate worst.
It just sounds dirty, you say hotmail.com. I don't know. But anyways.
It does.
So, you can approach people like that and go, look, hey, I've got a way that you can actually legitimize your business, and, and be able to set yourself up where it looks like you actually know what you're doing, and you actually care a little bit about your business. You're not just, Joe Schmo at, whatever.com. And so that's one of the things that I'm just kind of adding it to the business, tool bag to help others out. And I think as technology keeps going on and on, I think people are going to have, basically a web presence just to compete in any marketplace, that's out there.
Yeah. This is really a good idea, man. Like, so it's basically, instead of buying them a server, you're doing it in their servers in the cloud with Google Apps.
Exactly. And what's cool is you can use it. You're using regular Gmail accounts, which are free. You're just pointing the domain name to them. So now you can use the domain name through that service, and you can add whatever name you want in front of it. So
how much does it cost? How much does it cost through Google to set this up for a company?
It's free.
Wow.
It's 100% free, because there's a standard edition, which basically is free, and you can have up to 50 emails in it. They do have a business edition, which is, I think it's $50 a seat.
Right.
Now that adds some more features to you. You've got,
video and stuff.
Yeah, Exchange servers and in different things that most people don't need, but they do need that basic domain, that domain name on their email versus just, having a generic email.
Right. Now, this is really smart. You know what? Man, I would charge at least $199 for this.
Would you really? Okay.
Yeah, I would definitely. I mean, if you can explain to somebody that what you're setting up for them, they would. People would charge thousands of dollars to do this.
That's true.
Yeah.
I tend to do everything on the cheaper side. I know. You're probably right. Yeah, $199 is really to have that type of service. And basically, once you set it up, I mean, it's there. You can go back in and manage it if you need to. But what I did was I set up a sheet that gives their, basically, if they've never had a GoDaddy account, sets their GoDaddy account, gives them a username and password, because I don't want to ever leave the person without the information. They can do whatever they want with it, and if they think I'm the guy to continue to do their business, they're going to come back to me anyways.
Right.
So if they trust me and whatnot. So but I don't want to ever, if somebody wants to go to somebody else after I set it up, it's, by all means, that's fine by me.
If you set them up for this for $99, they're not going to anyone else.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's good stuff. This is a great idea to get a business just to be a little more professional.
Exactly.
Very cool. It's a great tip, man. I love it.
Yep. It was very easy to do.
I'll bet.
Some of the other things I've been working on before we go into what I've been fixing is I also set up a Facebook fan page, um, and hooked that to my Facebook account. So now when you actually look my name up right at the top, it says owner technician at TechNut. Is my business name, and if you click on that, that'll take you to the fan page, and then there's links to actually get to my web page from there. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to at least a few times a week is put some tips up there. I put one tip up there just about, hey, make sure you update your, Adobe Reader, Adobe Flash, Java and all that kind of stuff. And I pointed them to 9night.com just to do it real simply. So
Can I?
hopefully,
What is the? How do I get to your fan page?
1 sec. Let me look. Just had that up. It's right here. It's facebook.com/pages/TechNut. I think that'll take you to it.
TechNut PC or just TechNut?
Just TechNut.
Nah, it didn't work for me. That's all right. That's okay. I was just curious to see what it was because you're on the right track here. As much as I do not use Facebook, everybody else in the world does. So it's probably a really good idea to have a Facebook presence for your business.
Well, actually, if you just search my name, Jeff Hallish, you should get a link that comes up for Facebook. If you go on there, right at the top of the page, there's a link to get to my fan page.
Okay, Facebook. I am not logged into Facebook, so forget it. I can't find it. I see you. You look good, but I don't see your fan page. But that's just me. All right. Everybody else is going, Steve, what do you mean you can't find it? It's so easy. It's right there. Blah, blah, blah.
That's fine.
But no, it's a great idea, Facebook.
Yeah, well, they just changed their profile over probably within the past few days, and I don't know if everybody's got it or not. But like I said, basically right at the top, the very first thing right underneath my name is it says owner and technician at TechNut, which is a hyperlink that you can click and actually go to my fan page for the business. And then, people can like it and, follow it, that type of thing.
Gotcha.
And then what I also did was when I sent something out to there, I also created a TechNut PC Twitter account and started following, more people that were closer to what I do, TechNut or PC repair and stuff like that. So that because I probably follow on my regular Twitter account probably about 60 people.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally there's thousands in my feed a day, so it's really hard to keep up with it. So it's kind of nice to separate it out a little bit,
right? And
keep the people that are a little bit closer. Like when you send a tweet out, at least I'll see it and it doesn't get lost in all, with Scobalizer and all those guys that are sending tons of things out.
Do they send tons out?
Oh yeah, it's all the time. Which a lot of it's good content. It's just I don't have time to sit there and look at it all day long. So. Right.
Cool.
Anyways, and the other thing that I did was I also set up my LinkedIn page, which I had set up before. What I did was I created LinkedIn also has a company page, and I know, what's her name?
The Call That Girl.
Call That Girl, yeah. I know she was talking about that type of stuff, and so I went on there and I created a company page, also with TechNut on there, just to, and I linked that to my Twitter account too, my TechNut PC Twitter account. So
are you getting any business off of these social networking?
No, and I downloaded her book and I haven't read through it all yet, and I'm just getting to the point where I'm really starting to starting to put some stuff out there.
Yeah.
And it's just going to take time.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen overnight. And I actually have to put up content for people to start actually caring about what I'm doing. So,
right. Plus, just anyway, having that all placed out there, it gives you some Google juice. You got links back to your site, so that's not a bad thing.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's all good. And then the other thing, I don't know if I ever talked about this before, but I'll talk about this. I don't know how many people out there have thought about doing, like OpenDNS.com, and setting up the DNS servers to point to OpenDNS versus the Comcast DNS servers, or whatever your service provider is. Because one of the things that I've found is that as I've approached some people with this, I've said, look, they're going, hey, how do I stop my kids from getting to this site or that site? I'm like, well, I mean, you can download all kinds of software and try to manage it, or I can set up a service for you. Obviously not free, because it's definitely something that needs to be charged for, because not everybody knows how to do it. But set them up an account, and you can actually go in there and set up certain settings to stay off of certain sites. And I'll tell you what, it's been I've had mine set up for probably about 6 or 7 years at least. And there's barely anything that ever gets through my system. Not that my kids are going anywhere or doing anything, but stuff happens, man. Pop-ups come up, and somebody clicks on the wrong thing by accident. But that's really helped keep the junk off my PCs around here. So
does OpenDNS have like a certain default setups that you can pick, like where it tries to filter out like all the porn sites or something, like, or all the spyware sites?
Yeah, and you have to be careful. What I had to do is I had to go in and make a custom setting, because if you hit the one that's like in the middle, that I think it's like the porn and the it even hits stuff like lingerie. Well, the problem with that is, anybody that puts a wallpaper on their computer, it wouldn't let me go to any of the wallpaper sites. Because obviously there's a lot of lingerie and stuff in there, and there's other cool things on there. But so I had to go in and set up everything custom, just so I could get to, if I wanted to download a wallpaper to, to my computer or whatever.
Right.
So
now, does OpenDNS? I've never used it. So is OpenDNS an app that you download on and install on the computer, or is it settings you set in your router?
It's settings you set in your router. You actually point the DNS IPs to the OpenDNS servers, versus like the ones that are already set up in there. When you just start your router up, it grabs the Comcast or whatever internet service provider you're using.
So kids, unless the kids reset the router, they can't, and they don't, unless they have the admin password for the router, they can't mess with this.
Exactly. I mean, you could always, worst case scenario, you could hard reset the router.
Right.
But I mean, what kid's going to do that and not get caught?
Exactly. Why is my network called Linksys again?
Exactly. So, so that's one of the other things that I'm definitely, I've talked about it with a few people, but and I'm not sure what dollar figure to put on that, but I'm definitely going to, when I go in and set up somebody's network, I'm not just going to talk about, locking it down and putting a password on their network, which they should do anyways, which a lot of people still don't, believe it or not. But I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to offer them the OpenDNS service.
Yeah. I think it's a great thing to offer. I mean, if you word it properly, I wouldn't even use the words DNS. I would be like, did you ever wish your kids couldn't go to these kind of sites? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
If you say, oh, there's a great DNS server site out there, they'll be like, no, I don't want any of that crap. What are you talking about? How much does this cost, by the way, Jeff? Is it free?
It's free. It's free. They've got a paid service that gives you some more functionality, but quite honestly, I've been using a free one, and it does what I need it to do.
Awesome.
There's some more stuff on there. You can do some tracking and stuff like that, but it's not something that even as a technician, I believe I need. So,
is there any performance benefits to using it rather than your ISP's DNS?
Yeah, actually, it's a heck of a lot faster.
Really?
Yeah.
Sweet. I'm gonna use
just for the mere fact that you're not going through the Comcast. Everybody's going through the Comcast DNS servers. I mean, you're getting that clog in the system, basically.
Okay.
And this opens it up, because not as many people are using it too.
Very cool. That looks pretty awesome. It's a great idea. How much would you charge for this, Mr. Cheap Charging person?
I was thinking something like, I don't know, as part of a, I think as part of a, if I'm going to lock down I think I would have to go in and lock down their internet and stuff like that, as far as setting up a password and doing all that kind of stuff. I think, doing all that and setting this up, I think $99 is a fair price.
Okay. Cool.
I think it's fair.
All right. That's cool.
Yeah, I had to push that up a little bit because at first I was thinking 40. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
say anything. You know, everybody lives in different locations. Prices and economies are different in different areas. So I can't rip on people about their prices because I was charging dirt cheap too. So I have no leg to stand on for that.
Well, and I do this part time, and that's the thing. And I'll be honest with you, in probably less than 10 years, once I get out of my regular job, I'm going to do this full time. And at that time, especially if I open a shop or something, there might be some differences that I'm going to charge it, charge a price, and you still try to help people out whenever you can. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it goes a long way. You help somebody out, they help you out in the future, or, referrals and stuff like that.
Right. Very
So.
good. Very good. All right. What else you want to talk about?
I don't know if anybody. I was just looking at my all the passwords I have to save, and all the passwords I have to remember. And I know even like when you sent the tech site builder out, you give a specific password that you have to use for that. And there's been other sites that I've gone to that have given me a password that I wasn't able to set up as a generic password. So one of the services I've been using is LastPass. And I'm sure a lot of technicians have, you know, a lot of technicians have, maybe probably use this or know about it, or, maybe use a couple other things out there. But LastPass has just been a lifesaver. I've got well over 100 sites that it just remembers my passwords, and I was able to, I printed out a copy that I put in my safe, just in case anything weird happens or whatever. And the other thing I did too is I pay him $12 a year because I can use it on my phone, and that's a lifesaver. When I'm trying to log into something,
Yeah.
last thing you want to do is type these extremely long passwords into your phone.
While you're driving.
Well, yeah. No, I don't do that. But all right, maybe once or twice. But
how does it sync through all your devices? Through browsers? It's a browser add-on?
it's a browser add-on, and the Android browser has a LastPass add-on. Well, LastPass has their own application you can use, or the Dolphin browser has a LastPass add-on
Gotcha.
that you can download. So
Very neat. Yeah,
But
you're more and more people have been talking about this. I think I need to convert to this as well.
it's great, and for the service, it's basically free. But they're doing such a great job. Like I said, $12 a year. To have it wherever I need it, that's a great deal. $12 a year for anything, pretty much. I'll pay that.
Yeah, that's nothing for a service like this. Plus they acquired X Marks.
Yeah, exactly. And they've got I just got an email. They've got a deal going on. If you purchase both premium services, they give you, I don't know, 66% off or something like that. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's pretty
it's
cool.
really, really cheap.
Hey,
So.
did you hear? Because most people just use the same password for all their sites, I think. Did you hear how Gawker Media got their computers broken into because apparently some group didn't like what they were doing or saying or something, so they hacked their system and they stole everybody's email address and password that has signed up for Gawker, and it was like several. I don't know how many email addresses, several 100,000 or something, but the stat was I was listening to TNT on the Twit Network, and the stat that Tom Merritt said was about 1,200 of those emails that were stolen and passwords that were stolen, 1,200 of them used the word password as their password. Like that was their password was the word password. 1,200 of them out of whatever, several hundred thousands, a million, I don't even know. But wow, I mean, wow. To me, that was a kind of astounding. You hope that the population's getting over that whole thing where they don't use the word password for their passwords, but no, it's still happening.
Well, I just had to get after somebody a couple days ago because I had to get into their email account. I was setting up a Carbonite for them, and I go, "So what's your password?" And it was their username. I'm like, "You're kidding, right?" They're like, "No." I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" I said, "You can't do that. That's too easy to guess." I said, "You got to come up with a catchphrase or something, and use a number and capitalize a letter or something,
Right. Over their head,
So,
probably.
yeah, exactly. They're like, Well, I have to remember. And then, you sit down at their computer and it's, postage to the wall and everything. So it's like, whatever.
There's like a yellow sticky note on their computer with it on there.
Exactly.
It's
So it doesn't matter.
It's probably saved as a text document too in their computer. Yeah. Neat.
Oh man.
Cool.
So
All right.
all right. So anyway, so those are some things I've been doing when business has been kind of a little, there's been a lull in business or whatever. Some of the repairs that I've come up against lately have been I had a computer that came in the shop, and basically I was sitting there trying to diagnose it and see what was going on. And I've had this happen to me twice now, and I didn't realize that this would happen like this. But they had two hard drives in the computer, and the secondary hard drive wasn't even the main hard drive, and there was nothing on it. Was basically wasn't working, and it stopped the computer from booting. And so all I did was when I unplugged that hard drive, boom, computer booted right up. No problem.
What did it do when it tried to boot?
It would it just went into a boot loop. It would just that sounds kind of funny, doesn't it? Boot loop.
Fruit Loops.
That's my new term.
I like it.
Anyways, so yeah, it would go into Windows, and you'd see the little bar when the Windows thing came up, and it would start going across, and then it would just go back to a black screen and start the process all over again.
Was it trying to boot? Was it trying to boot from that second drive? Did that second drive have Windows on it?
No, that's what I'm saying. The second drive had nothing on it.
Wow.
It was a blank drive.
Steve D in the chat room saying the same thing happened to him.
Yeah, well, I just had one the other day. And that's the other thing too, is I started checking when I have that problem in a laptop. There's a lot of times with the bigger laptops, especially if they're 17 inchers, I forget that a lot of times there's two slots for hard drives, and a lot of these people spend $700-800 for their computers, and so I always open both sides up to make sure that there's if there's a second hard drive in there, or if they just have a partition on the first hard drive, with a recovery partition or whatever.
Really? You're encountering laptops that have two hard drive bays?
Yeah, a lot of them actually.
Really?
Yeah, I was surprised because I was something that I had forgotten to check, and I'm flipping it over and I go, oh, wait a minute. And there's a hard drive straight across the other side. So I was like, whoa.
Wow.
Now some are empty, but I've come across a lot that have actually had two hard drives.
I can't believe that. I bet the customer didn't even know.
No, and again, the second drives are blank. It's like a waste of space.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff they'll never use.
Right,
so.
right.
But,
good one. Well, that's good to know. A blank second hard drive could stop booting on Windows midway through the boot. Like I would think maybe at BIOS, maybe it would hang up, but midway through the Windows boot, that's odd.
It is odd. It really is. And that's the second one that I had, because I had another one, the same problem. It wouldn't do it. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. So,
wow. Cool.
Let's see. The other thing I worked on was I replaced the screen on a netbook. I figured it couldn't be any harder than a laptop.
Were you right?
Sorta. What the only little problem is it depends on how the plastic around the screen edging is set up. A lot of them have the hinge covers that go all the way down, and so when you rotate this screen, they cover the whole hinge plate, and it's almost like 180 degrees. Not a full 360, but it's a pretty good point. So this one, because the plastic was so thin on it, I didn't want to break it. What I ended up doing was I was able to pry it, but I had to pry the top of the computer up just to get those things out. So that was kind of a bummer. It wasn't just a square face plate that could take the 6 screws out, pop it off, no problem.
Did anything break?
No, nothing broke, except I could not get, I don't know what I would have done if this thing hadn't been, if it hadn't just been a screen, because I tried to get the front to unsnap, and I was in there and I made sure all the screws were pulled out, and, I'm pulling on it. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to try to pry the back edges of it up enough to get this screen cover off to get that screen out. And then when I put it back together, I'll just pry it up and do the same thing. So. And
that worked? Do you feel like you missed a screw somewhere?
I could have.
Okay.
It's possible. I don't know if there's ever been a time where I went to take a laptop apart where I go, okay, why is this thing not pulling apart? And sure enough, I flip it back over and,
There's a
oh,
screw.
I didn't see that screw right there.
Every time. If you
Yep.
have to force it, that's my rule number one. If you have to force it, something's going to break. Check for the screw.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You would think in a netbook, though, they're so, I mean, this was a small one. I don't know, maybe a 10.1 or something like
Yeah.
that. And it's like, there weren't that many screws in there to begin with. So
you would think. I never did a screen replacement on a netbook. I want to do one, so we'll see.
well, and then I took the screen apart, and it was kind of cool to see the little, the LED light in the bottom and all that kind of stuff. I kind of ruined the whole thing, but,
No,
I was
it's
just
cool.
curious.
You got to do that. So, was it just lit at the bottom?
Yep, just at the bottom.
And is it a row of LEDs, or what is it?
Yeah, it's a row of LEDs. I think there was 6 or 7 in there.
Okay. That's pretty cool. That's the way it's going these days. It's better than those fluorescent things, man. They're like as thin as like this wire, and they're this long. So, I mean, you bend them the least little bit, they pop.
Right. Yeah.
Cool.
So, let's see. So the next thing, I had another laptop that came in, and I kind of figured it out right away that it was a RAM problem, but it wasn't a RAM problem like I thought. So I do what I normally do. I pull the first stick of RAM out, and sure enough, computer boots up, but it's running Windows Vista 64-bit on this laptop. And I go, there's no way this thing is going to run even remotely well with 1 gig of RAM. So I had another gig of RAM. I popped that one in, no boot.
What is it doing, no boot?
I can't remember on that one. Was it going into I think it was going into some sort of boot loop also. I just quit saying that.
I get a picture of a bowl of Fruit Loops every time you say that.
I know. That's what I'm thinking of.
Toucan Sam.
But yeah, I think it was going into the same type of thing. It was trying to start up Windows, and then it just got to a certain point, and it was crashing and going back and restarting again. So
okay. So you put a good stick of RAM in that's open slot, and it did that. Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
So so I pulled the RAM back out. So finally, after doing this a few times and trying to switch the sticks of RAM around, I go, something has got to be wrong with that slot.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, that was it. So I called the customer up and told them, I said, look, I said, we need to put 2 gigs of RAM in here. I said, you got a bad slot. I need to get another stick. And I don't know, it was probably $50. I think I paid $30 for it or something. And I think I should charge him $50.
Okay.
I've been getting a little better on that, charging for parts.
Good.
More, so
yeah, just ease yourself up. Keep easing, and eventually you'll hit a good price.
Exactly. So, and I'm making good money on the parts and stuff now. So
good.
Yeah. So I popped that in, boom, loaded up, no problem.
Sweet. Yeah, you would. I mean, that's the way to do a fix on that. I mean, what are you going to do? Replace the motherboard? So,
no, it's not even worth it.
Not worth it. Yeah. RAM's going up though. RAM's like gas prices. I mean, how much? So you got a 2 gig stick for $30? That's pretty good.
Oh yeah, DDR2. I still find it. I find a lot of that stuff on sale. 2 gig stick, even for the desktop computers, I can get for $20.
Damn, that's great.
So yeah, DDR2, the 633. Is in mostly what that's the other thing too, is what I found out is that I'm getting less and less Windows XP machines. I'm getting a lot of Vista machines.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It's the times have changed.
Exactly. So that's kind of cool. Now, some of my older tools aren't working with with Vista and whatnot, but that's fine. There's always new stuff out there that, you can find and use.
Keeps it interesting. Keep listening to this show. You'll find out the new stuff.
You got it, man. That's why, that was the other thing too. I remember the last show I talked about changing Windows 7 OEM discs to or from retail to OEM, and taking the TechNet subscription, discs, the ISOs that I downloaded. And, and this is what I love about the show is as soon as I brought that up, somebody goes, oh, well, you can. I think it was I think you had got an email or something. Oh, you can put all those versions on one disk. And sure enough, the website that I got that information from, it was the same website that they had found,
right? But
they had just found a different page that talked about putting the Windows 7 version. So I downloaded the little utility, and it took me about 5 minutes to make 2 disks. Now I've got 2 Windows 7 disks, 32-bit, 64-bit. They've got every version on there.
Nice.
So
See
it's
that?
it's as nice as Vista now, as far as reinstalls.
Nicest Vista. That's cool.
So um, let's see. A lot of virus removals. Some systems are a lot of, I've been able to do a lot of cleanup with a lot of systems, running the regular gambit of stuff. Now, I know people are probably going to crucify me for this, but
Uh-oh.
I've I've had good luck with Microsoft Security Essentials. I know a lot of people are saying that you you've gotten viruses and stuff like that, but I'll be honest with you, I get stuff in the shop right now that it's had Norton 360 on it, and it's still Trojans and rootkits and all kinds of stuff on there. So I'm like, these stuff are, a lot of these viruses and stuff are socially engineered for you to click on something. And I don't care what type of virus protection you have. If somebody's going to click on something and they go, yes, 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 boom,
Right.
next thing they know, it's in their system.
Right.
So, or they don't know it's in their system. Oh, that didn't do anything. And then they just go along, move on to the next thing. And 3 weeks later, they go, this thing won't move at all. It's too slow, and
Right.
then I get it. So,
No, you can't argue with somebody on what antivirus they use. I mean, it's like people like what they like, and different people have different success with different programs, and I think it's perfectly
right.
fine. It's perfectly fine.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, what I noticed is we had a problem. My wife actually had a Facebook account where she did the unthinkable and clicked on something that was, nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
One of those things that pop up and say, "Hey, check this out."
Yep.
And when she did that, it was all of a sudden she did the right thing. She got out of there, and we had to go back in and change her password. But um, I had my son run a bunch of virus scans and stuff on there, and it came up clean. But then I went and her system was kind of running slow, so I went and was checking a couple things, and actually two of my computers it actually had viruses that tried to get through, and Microsoft Security Essentials had stopped it.
You mean from that Facebook thing, or?
No, well, I think hers was from the Facebook thing. I'm sure. I don't. And my son's computer he had a couple different ones. There were a couple of Trojans. I'm not sure if they were from Facebook or
Right.
where they were from.
Gotcha.
So, and then I had a weird situation. I was talking to somebody on Skype, and I was sitting at my computer, and my computer's pretty locked down, and all of a sudden I had a pop up from Microsoft Security Essentials that something out of the blue just tried to get through, and I'm like, I wasn't even clicking on anything. I'm just sitting here talking,
Right. No kidding.
So, yeah.
All right. Maybe they're getting better.
I don't know. And they're starting to put it in where you can actually get it a little, I think Microsoft would like to put it with their operating system, but I just think that, they're afraid of, antitrust and all that kind of stuff coming out,
Yeah.
against them again.
Right.
Kind of like Internet Explorer, so.
Right.
But, all right. So, the other tool that I've been using, I've still been using when I've had a real bad case is that Microsoft Online Security Scanner. And a lot of times that will catch certain things that Super Anti-Spyware, Malwarebytes, Microsoft Security Essentials doesn't catch.
Really?
And
it's a Microsoft product?
What's that?
It's a Microsoft product?
It's the old OneCare. I think it's onecarelive.com or something like that.
Damn.
So,
okay. But it's an online scan. Okay.
Well, and what it does is it goes in and it fixes a couple of, fixes the, some of the security settings and different things like that. Make sure that ports aren't open. It does a lot of checks that, obviously Microsoft knows where the holes are.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to plug them when it can. And then there's a lot of times where it comes up and there's certain things that it finds, like in a registry, that it can't clean. But all you got to do is, you can look at it or write it down, and you can go in the registry and pull that stuff out manually yourself.
Okay.
Run another scan, boom, it's gone, and system's fixed.
What's the, do you have the site for that?
I think I sent it. Let me see. I think I sent it to you last time. It's, it's onecare.live.com.
Okay.
Let's see.
That's cool. Don't worry about
it. All right. Then I had another laptop that came into the shop that basically a guy had tried to, and I've seen this happen before, a guy had tried to download all these one tools that would fix everything. And, he had just, registry cleaners and this and that, and all these companies I've never heard of. And basically the computer just was running so slow. And even when I tried to clean it up and uninstall those things, it had messed things up so badly
Right.
that, I basically had to do a reinstall and, just to make sure that the everything hardware wise was working on a computer fine. And it was, as soon as I did a reinstall, the thing runs like brand new,
Sure, of course.
so he was
Yeah.
happy with that.
Yeah, it's dangerous. I mean, a lot of those companies that create that type of software that's supposed to fix the problem, it's tricky for somebody who doesn't know what they're looking at. I mean, there's so many rogue programs out there, even programs that aren't just quite rogue but a little criminal. They're just bad enough that they're going to mess up your system. So
yeah, exactly. Or they're because you're getting it for free. They're basically downloading information to the mothership, and you don't know it. Where the more legitimate ones like super anti-spyware and stuff like that, they're asking you, hey, do you want to send a diagnostic report?
right,
And so you can or you don't have to.
right.
They would like you to, but they're not going to force you to, and that's what I like about those legitimate programs.
Yeah, me too.
So anyway, and with that guy too, that's what I ended up doing. I sold him a copy of Super Anti-Spyware because during this last couple weeks they've had a phenomenal deal on it. Being a reseller, it's you get these emails and you're like, oh, you can buy as many copies as you want for said price and double and make a good profit. So
Damn, good. Good. Hey guys, if you do buy from Super Anti-Spyware, continue to tell them that Podnutz sent you. Continue to tell them that because they're going to probably do another blast for like a month, another campaign for another month where we're going to be promoting them. But just to like push the issue, let them know that you heard about them through Podnutz. They'll be more inclined to support us. Okay.
Well, that's the other thing I started doing too. I started, this stuff that I signed up to resell for. I go, you know what? I am not going to resell anything I'm not personally using. And so I'd set up Super Anti-Spyware, the paid version on my computer was, so I let it run in the background, let it do its thing. And I also run it on my bench computer. And I'll tell you what's nice about that is a couple things that I did was, especially on my bench computer and my main computer, is I run a full scan of Microsoft Security Essentials, like, I don't know, 2:00 in the morning or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Super Anti-Spyware at 4. And and it runs a full scan. I don't do a quick scan or a partial scan. And that just, so on a daily basis, my computers are being checked while I'm not using it anyways, and just making sure that they're clean, especially my bench computer, because you plug a lot of things into that, and it's really, I try to make sure that everything's manually updated, but sometimes you miss something here or there.
Yeah.
And, something tries to sneak through.
What do you notice? Are they both running okay? How's Super Anti-Spyware running for you?
Oh, it runs awesome. It's it's clean every day. I get up, it has a screen, like, because I have it leave the screen up, and so I know that it's done a scan. And it's like, yep, everything's clean. You're good. Okay, cool.
Good.
So, I don't think I talked. I did have a weird had a weird hard drive that I never ran into this before, and I don't know if I talked about it last time, but this thing had it was the first one that I've ever had that had a virus in the master boot record. And so after I knew this thing was hosed, and this guy that had this computer, he needed a new hard drive anyways because he was trying to download all these videos and he was running out of room. So I upgraded his hard drive, reinstalled the system, all that. But then I was messing around with this hard drive that was left over that nobody needed, and I'm playing with it, and I'm like, every time I go to plug it in my USB dock to my bench computer, boom, Microsoft Security Essentials comes up and goes, whoa,
right,
gotta stop. There's a virus. I'm like, and the drive was totally empty.
Really?
Yeah. So I had to go in, and I can't remember exactly what I did. Anyway, I Google searched it and found out, hey, okay, yeah, there was, and I downloaded some program or whatever, and it took care of that.
You couldn't, formatting the drive wouldn't get rid of it?
No.
Wow.
You actually had to go deeper than that. And that was what was weird to me. I was like going, I've never ran into that before, so let me see what I got to do.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So, yep. Just reading in the chat there.
Yeah.
So, so that I just couldn't believe it. So it just made me think that, if I ever get to that point where things are still messy, then, I'll definitely look to that and just try to put that
Cool.
in my brain.
Yes. Now you know.
Exactly. Well, and I had a issue that I dealt with today. It was and I can't tell you, and I'm going to say this publicly, I cannot tell you how much I cannot stand HP printers.
Oh,
Again,
man.
I say I cannot tell you how much I cannot stand HP printers. They are the only printers I ever get any calls on. And maybe that's because there's more of them out there. I don't know. I don't care, but they're just a pain. So this customer has I just fixed their computer. They had some viruses on it, had no antivirus, loaded all that stuff up, super antispyware, got all this, got it all cleaned up. They basically had a plastic broken fan cage that held the CPU, heatsink and fan on.
Mm-hmm.
And the plastic had just snapped. So I had one that I pilfered off another motherboard, so I just replaced it for them. But anyway, so going back to the printer, so they take it home, everything's working fine. They can't get the printer to scan. Well, it used to scan. It's not scanning.
Sure.
And so I'm sitting there for 3 hours trying to reinstall the printer driver, get the updated one. I'm installing it. It's going through the process. And the last second, it just, boom, kills it. Nope, fatal error. I'm like, really? You're going to get all the way to that point. I've sat here for 20 minutes and you're going to come up with fatal error.
Oh, man. That's
Well,
the
after
worst.
doing that 2 or 3 times, I'm really starting to get irritated. And just like, well, okay. So I loaded the Bear driver,
Mm-hmm.
got the printer back working, no problem. The printer works, fax works, everything works on this thing. You cannot press the scan button. You press the scan button and it goes, which computer? And it doesn't give you anything else on the printer menu to go to a computer or anything. And this is plugged in USB. It's not even wireless.
Oh, my gosh.
This computer or this printer is less than a year old. They still sell it today for $89. And the software update that they have still has this apparent bug in it that everybody else knows about, but HP won't do anything about. They're like, well, it's an older printer. That's what the people from India say. That's an older printer.
Wow.
Now, people are having problems with this printer on XP, Vista, Windows 7, and Mac OS OS 10. Snow
Jeez,
Leopard.
all of them?
All of them.
Man.
Same problem. That scan button will not work. It used to work, won't work now. So anyway, so what I ended up doing, and this is a workaround. It's not pretty, but basically, it was a way. They scan documents every once in a while. They just needed a way to scan. So what I finally did was I used Windows Live Gallery, or you can use Windows Photo Gallery, or you can use Microsoft Paint. Any one of them, but I use a Windows Live Gallery because they had a big fat import button on the left-hand side of the screen as soon as you open up the program.
Mm-hmm.
And you hit the import button, you hit scanner, it goes to the scanner, you whatever's in the scanner, you hit it, and you hit the import, boom, it scans it, turns it, I had it set up to turn into a 300 DPI JPEG, and that's all they needed. They just needed it to work.
That's not a bad workaround. That's fine. That's great. It's almost better.
It's not what I like, though.
You mean you want to be able to hit the button?
Exactly. Well, if you pay for something, there's a button on there. You should be able to hit the stupid button.
Oh, I totally agree. But if it's determined that HP is the software is completely faulty and there's nothing you can do about it there, your workaround's pretty damn good. I think.
It works. They were happy. Like I said, they just needed to scan a few documents every once in a while. So it wasn't that big a deal to them, Not pretty, but it works.
Very good. Good job.
So that was a 3-hour fix.
Oh man, I actually pictured myself in a customer's house. I went through the same type of thing, and when you were telling that story, I pictured it myself going through that. I feel your pain. I do.
You want to fix the problem, but it's just, and the problem was fixed. I look at it that way. The problem was fixed, but I don't know. You always expect more out of yourself, I guess. And that's a good thing.
That is a great thing, actually.
Let's see. Some of the one of the other tools I didn't talk about because I'm on a Microsoft Security Essentials Yes, I'm a Microsoft fanboy. No, I'm just kidding.
Uh,
I like all technology equal.
no, listen
Uh,
to him. That's great.
uh, but a while back, I set up a Windows home server, and I didn't want to pay for an antivirus. So I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. I can't even use, and you couldn't use Microsoft Security Essentials on any servers. It wouldn't work. But Microsoft at the time was working on a Microsoft Security Essentials beta, and it was only in 32-bit form at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ended up using that on my Windows home server,
Right.
and it worked. It works great. So I haven't had a problem with it. I've had it updates automatically. I've had to do a major engine update. I think it's done it a couple times. Rebooted my my server, but server's been up and running for 8 months, something like that.
So they still have that beta out there?
Yeah, it's still out there. It should still be out there. I don't know. I downloaded it and put it on my USB stick, and it's been there ever since. So
Good. That's a good tip.
One of the other things that I use, and I don't know how many people use this, and I think I got this from the Tech Nibble site, looking through their tools. One of the tools that they had come up with one time, and this was a long time ago, was Anti-Malware Toolkit by Lunarsoft.
Mm-hmm.
The last update they've done is January 1st of this year. So it's been about a year, but the program still fundamentally works for most things. And it downloads a lot of antivirus uninstaller tools. It downloads Malwarebytes, Super Anti-Spyware, all these different things that you might, Combo Fix, all these different things that you might use, on a regular basis, or, you might have a need for. But instead of going to all the different websites and pulling them down manually, at least you can get a bunch of them,
Yeah.
And it does, it downloads them into a folder. You can have it categorize it, and it's, it's nice to have on your USB stick to just to use.
Well, who makes it? Lunarsoft?
Yeah, Lunarsoft, Lunarsoft.
That's Anti-Malware Toolkit?
Yes.
Sweet.
I think I downloaded it from majorgeeks.com is where I download a lot of that stuff from.
Yeah. Good.
The other tool I've been using, which is surprising because I am not a fan of these, but I ended up buying a copy of System Mechanic.
I knew you were going to say a registry cleaner.
It's not just a registry cleaner,
Right.
But because I've always used for cleaning registry, I've always used CCleaner.
Mm-hmm.
But System Mechanic, I've seen them advertised on Computer America. I've heard Kerry Holtzman talk about them, and I know he uses them. Well, there was a problem that I ran into that I'd run the whole gambit of tools, and I tried to get this computer. I tried to get Internet Explorer working, and I was getting some redirects and just different weird things were happening, or it wasn't logging in at all. And so I said, well, you know what? Let me try System Mechanic. It resets a lot of settings.
Right.
Again, just kind of goes through the gambit. Stops the redirects. Shuts down ports. Does what it needs to do. So I downloaded it, put it on a machine, cleared up the problem, no problem.
Damn.
Everything was fine. I'd already run Super Anti-Spyware, Malwarebytes, all these other cleaners on it, and when I ran that, fixed the Internet Explorer problem. Because the other thing I generally do is I'll go in and I'll go to the advanced setting on Internet Explorer, which most people are using, and I just reset the whole browser itself. And a lot of times that'll solve some of the problems
Right.
too.
Sure. I do that a lot too, or did that.
Yeah, but this, I tried all that and none of it worked. And System Mechanic did it. Plus, it beefs up your internet settings. And I think I got a copy of it. There was a sale. I got an email. It was $24.95. And what's cool about the new one is you can put it on multiple computers. So as far as whatever in your home, obviously don't put them on your customers' computers because that would not be right. But whatever amount of computers you have in your home, and I've got 10 running here, so I've got to have
And it's
when
good.
I buy software, it's like
yeah, I can imagine.
I got to get it for as cheap as possible. So.
Right. So it's not bloated. It's good. It works. I mean, what's it? 2010, 2011 version or what?
It is. I knew you were going to ask me that. I don't know. Whatever the latest one. I think it's 2010.
Okay. All right, if it's the latest one. All right. So you recommend it then?
I do recommend it.
Okay.
You know what? I actually had some slowdowns on my internet, and I just tried it. I tried the 30-day trial, and after I go, and what it does is it actually looks at things and runs in the background over time, and it'll kind of tell you if there's some registry things that need to be moved around. The other thing it does is it optimizes the hard drive, so kind of like a defragging software. Also, it'll move things around to where it needs to be. Um, but overall, I've got it set up on 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 computers. I think I've got it set up on. So, and I haven't had a problem with any of them.
Yeah.
Pretty much Windows 7, most of them in one Windows XP machine. So
Good.
But
all right, I have emails and voicemails. Do you want to keep going, or how much more do you have?
I think that's about it. I think that's all the fun things that I had going on over the past few months.
That was great stuff.
So,
let's see what these guys have to say. I did beg people to write in, and some of them actually did. So, all right, here we go. This is from Nick. He says, "Steve, this piece of software is a free download." Yep, Jeff. Oh, I thought you said something.
No, I'm still here.
All right. This piece of software is a free download until December 10th. Okay. Sorry, Nick. And it might be something you're interested in trying out. I mean, he sent it to me on the 8th. I heard about it on PCRadioshow.org today, and the URL is youtubeget.com. I don't think it's a computer repair tool anyway. No, it's a YouTube downloader. All right, thanks, Nick. I'll read that on Nuts at Night or something. Let's see what we got here. Sharon says, I damaged the ribbon cable for the touchpad. It doesn't say for what. I damaged the ribbon cable for the touchpad. It pushed some of the metal connectors loose. When I tried to push it back in place, it didn't want to go in all the way. It would only barely stick in the slot and was loose, so I tried to push it in firmly. There's another one that's wider, not the keyboard, and that also doesn't fit in tightly. It seems that if it were bumped, it would come loose. I've already repaired the power jack once, and it was successful this time. Not so great. I think I'll have to find a way to prior push the metal contacts, the one that is supposed to push against the power cord insert. Okay, so apparently she's talking about, there must be an earlier email, but I don't have it. She must be talking about a laptop, ribbon cable problems. She asks, are these ribbon cables available to buy? I have bought ribbon cables on eBay, especially for the HP DV6000, which just foolishly lays the ribbon cables across all these sharp contacts on the motherboard. So I've bought ribbon cables for HPs on eBay. So I would say if you are going to buy ribbon cables, eBay is your place to go to check. So type in the model of that computer, type in ribbon cables or ribbon, and just the word ribbon, and see what happens. That's from Sharon. All right, this is from James. He says, I don't know if this has been mentioned yet, but Fab's Auto Backup now has a tech edition of the famous awesome backup tool. The version's main advantage is that it works on a slave drive or via a boot disk like UBCD for Win. It costs something like $70. It's easily worth every penny. I used it for the first time today. I absolutely loved it. Anyone who hasn't tried it, check it out. A tech edition. Okay, cool. Well, that's fpnet.fr. And if you want to be good to Fab and be a good technician, buy the technician's version. He designed a cool tool, so you might as well get compensated for it. Thanks for that email. This is from Raphael. He says, I'm interested in starting a remote support business. I was hoping you could do a show on this topic. I would like to know how to set up a website for a business like this, specifically how to collect payment for the service. I work as a computer repair technician full-time here in Charlotte, North Carolina, but I'm interested in starting my own business. Well, we do shows with a lot of business tips. I don't know, Raphael. Well, we'll have to see. We've probably covered many of those factors before. Hey, you want my advice, Raphael? Listen to every episode of Podnutz Daily. You'll know what to do. There's only 288, so. But maybe we could cover that in a later show. Hey, buy the tech site builder will get you started in a big way. TechSiteBuilder.com. That'll get you hooked up easily. Okay, let me play 2 voicemails here, and then that's going to be it for today. Got to go to Google Voice. I got to do this on a separate computer just for the time being. And here we go. This is from Timster, which Google thinks is called Chester.
It's a good name.
All right, here we go. This is Chester's email or voicemail.
This voicemail is for Podnutz Daily. Hello, Steve. Timster here. Remember back in the good old days when you owned your shop, working on those XP computers? It was just amazed at how Combo Fix just totally cleared up issues for you. Wasn't that awesome? Well, guess what? Combo Fix is still around. It's still supported. And it's an excellent tool to use on Windows Vista and Windows 7. If you've done all your malware cleanup and you've done everything you could in your professional knowledge to clean up your computer that you're working on, and you're still having internet issues, Combo Fix is the way to go. If you're having browser redirects, or if Internet Explorer is broken, or Windows Update doesn't work, or other programs can't access the internet, Combo Fix is the way to go, and you can use it in Vista and in 7. The only trick is with that is to disable UAC. It won't run if you don't disable UAC, and UAC doesn't even pop up and ask anything. It just flat out won't run. So a little trick, disable UAC. You can do that in Windows Vista. Open Control Panel, type UAC, and you'll see a link that says turn user account control on or off. And in Windows 7, you just type UAC into the Start menu or Control Panel search box, and simply drag the slider up or down, drag it all the way off, run Combo Fix. It takes about 10 minutes. It has cleared up all sorts of strange broken Windows problems that I've had after cleaning the system up. Just throw that tip out there. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you, Chester. I mean, Timster. Let me see what Google thinks. You said combo fixtures is what Google thinks that tool is called.
That's close.
No, yeah, it's pretty close. Combo Fix for the win. You're right, Timster. Apparently, it's still around. It still works. Kill UAC, use it, and enjoy it. Thank you, Timster, for that. That was a good reminder that we all need to embrace Combo Fix. Next voicemail here.
Hello, Podnutz. I have a question. Is there any way we can do a podcast on home servers? Because I need to know how to set them up. People asking about them. They want to record media. They want to, and they're not sure if Linux is best or is NAS going to be best. We need to know if Windows Server is going to be best. Is there any way to get one started? I appreciate it. This is Mark in Arizona. Have a nice day. Bye.
That's Mark from Arizona. Wants to know if we could do a podcast on home servers. We might be able to do a show or two on home servers. I don't know about a separate show. I'd like to learn more about home servers. I mean, listen to Linux for the rest of us. Door Geek did a whole, if you are interested in the Linux servers, Door Geek did a whole show on it one time. We talk about Windows Home Server on this show a lot. I don't think we're going to do a whole show, a whole podcast devoted to that separately, but we do shows on it. So that's a great suggestion. Maybe we'll do a actual Podnutz episode on that, like not a daily, just a regular Podnutz. If anybody knows or is super knowledgeable on home servers and wants to do a show on it, let me know. Definitely here, and that'll lead me into the next thing. If you want to be a guest on Podnutz Daily, go to podnutz.com/guests. Sign up. It's free. You will see your face on a podcast that thousands of people watch. Well, that'll be pretty cool. You'll get to know you're helping others, and what better feeling is that, right?
That's right.
So that's Jeff signed up. Boom, he's on the show. It's just that easy. If you want to call and leave a voicemail like these guys, call 7076-PODNUT. That is the Podnutz official phone number. 7076-PODNUT. No Z at the end. And if you just want to send us an email, just send me an email at mail@podnutz.com, and we will read it on the show. That's easy, too. Those three things will help enrich this show and make it hopefully as good as you guys, suitable for you guys, so you can continue to enjoy it. All right. Anyway, that's going to be it for today's show. Let's thank Jeff again for coming on. Jeff, thank you very much. Let me get your video up here first. Hang on a sec. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Oh, no problem. It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. I'm just glad to be able to, to share and hopefully the little tidbits that I was able to give. I always get something out of this show. And, for all those people out there that have thought about signing up, just suck it up and do it.
Yes. Thank you, man. I agree.
You know what? It's okay if you have butterflies before you get on the show. It's not that big a deal. As soon as the first words come out of your mouth, you'll forget all about it. I guarantee it.
It's great advice. It's like getting on a roller coaster, It takes you up to the top real slow, real slow, real slow. And then once it drops you down the first hill, you're loving it.
Exactly.
So, all right. With that, thanks again, Jeff. Thank you, everybody, for watching, listening, streaming. Stay tuned for Linux for the rest of us. We're going to do that at 8:30, so hang tight with us if you're watching us live. And see everybody next time.